Good morning on this bright, beautiful, sunshiny, freezing cold day. Bracingly cold. We're about to get started, so welcome. Welcome to those that are here with us in person and those that are watching online this week or will be later in the week. My name is Mary Beth Wollenschlager. I serve our ministry as a prayer chaplain and as a prayer chaplain director. So please quiet your cell phone now as we get ready for our service. And if your cell phone does go off during the service, we just ask that you step into the foyer or downstairs to take your call. Thank you very much. This morning, we are especially blessed with our musical offering. Sheila Pepraki and Tiara, are you singing as well? Oh, wonderful. Okay, Tiara and her lovely young son, Shine, who is a 6th grader at Nichols, is going to play the drums for us. And their opening song is titled Namaste.
Namaste, namaste, I see the beauty in you. Namaste, namaste, I see the beauty in you. Together. Namaste, namaste, I see the beauty in you. Namaste, namaste, I see the beauty in you. In your eyes I see the light that's shining through. You radiate such grace, and so I bow to you. Namaste, namaste, I see the beauty in you. Namaste, namaste, I see the beauty in you. You give your loving heart to everyone you see. The way you live your life inspires me. Namaste, namaste, I see the beauty in you. 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 I see the beauty. I see the beauty in you. I see the courage. I see the courage courage in you.
I see the power
I
in
see
you.
the power in you. I see 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 you. Namaste, namaste, nama. Namaste, 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 nama. Namaste, 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 nama. Namaste, 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 na na na. Namaste, 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 na na na. Namaste, 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 na na na. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste, everybody. Namaste.
Thank you. I hear you.
Yeah.
What a beautiful song. Brought tears to my eyes. So good morning again. And thank you for that beautiful song. There's a wonderful ancient tradition where you greet someone and you say, I see you, and the response is, I'm ready to be seen. So I invite you to share with me, I see you. I'm ready to be seen. Thank you. Thank you. Please join me in our opening prayer as we get centered in our hearts, taking a little bit of a slower breath, a little bit of a deeper breath, becoming more fully aware of the presence, the power of stillness, the power of love that brings us together on this beautiful sunny morning. Divine wholeness. Thank you for the gift of this Sunday morning. Thank you for the blessings of being together, whether we're in person or online or even down the road in the future watching this later. We're all connected. We're all connected in this eternal moment of now as we prepare our hearts and our minds for the coming week with this service. We prepare to get in sync with life, in sync with love. We bless the service, we bless the message, we bless Reverend Mary, we bless everyone that's attending today or online in the future. And we bless all those with the courage to sing, to perform for us, to share their gifts with us. May we each take the example of today and share with courage our gifts. And so it is. Amen. Please join me in affirming our invocation. There is only one presence and one power, living as the universe and as me, God the good, omnipotent. And let's affirm together these truth statements for our ministry, starting with that vision we're holding in our mind's eye. It's not here yet, but we're holding it in our mind's eye, and it's coming. Together, a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And the way we're going to get there is through practicing our mission together, practicing the presence of God through prayer, education, service, creativity, and community. And we'll practice our mission by emulating our core values, and we'll do the dance moves that, like John likes to do, the dance moves. You got to help me out with loving, I'm drawing a blank today. Spiritually centered is tap your heart. Wow. This music, I'm just still in the music. Sorry. Inclusive, respectful, our opening song, Namaste. And compassionate, from my heart to yours. Okay, we got through that. Thanks for the help. Oh, and the notes were right here. What to do. Sometimes it's right in front of us and we don't see it. So our daily word reader, oh, there she is, Karen May. Come on up, Karen.
Comfort. I find comfort in expression of love. Speaking the words, I love you, provides comfort for an aching heart and peace in times of uncertainty. Today I open my heart to these loving expressions as a soothing balm for distress or grief. When I am concerned about another, love centers me in the truth that all is in divine order, no matter how circumstances appear. I enfold the people I care about in a sphere of love, encircling them in peace and protection. When I am troubled, I find comfort in others' loving words. I surround myself with those who offer solace in my time of need. I find encouragement in their kindness and compassion. As we share of ourselves in kind and loving ways, we hearten spirits and bolster faith, giving comfort to ourselves and others. Comfort your hearts and strengthen them in every good work and word. I never can pronounce that word. Theosolations? Say it again. 2:17. I'm not even going to try it. And we can say together, I find comfort in expression of love. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. There's always more than one way to do things, right? Get some help. And now it's time for our lesson with our very own wonderful Reverend Mary Masters.
Good morning. And I want to start by saying, as we sang, Namaste. Namaste, I love you. Has anybody said to you yet this morning that they love you? Well, I just did. But if not, I wanted to be the first one. And so, well, I was thinking about, and some of our people that, if this is your first time, let's make sure before you leave, or if you haven't been here in a while, that you get a copy of our Lenten booklet. And there's some wonderful readings in here. And the reading this week just really kind of struck me, or the reading for today, was about moving from your old story to your new story. And I wanted to talk about that today. You know, and I've always loved this quote from Greg Lavoie. He's an author and spoke at Unity Village. And he made this statement one time. He said, all stories have the same theme: two worlds colliding. Your old story and your new story. And I came upon a story that I thought was a really good example of that in Sadhguru's book on karma. And you may recognize the name Sadhguru. That was Mike Anandi's spiritual teacher. But I wanted to share, I've been kind of waiting and saving this story for the right moment, and I just thought, oh, today's a good day. It is an example of an old story and a new story colliding. And it's a story about a man who was really spiritually hungry and thirsty. And in the old days, when you were really thirsty for spirituality, you went into the forest, and so he went deep into the woods, and he found a tree that just fit right for him, and he sat down under the tree, crossed his legs, and began toning. Om. You can do that with me one time. Om. 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 But you know, you can only om so long, and then you start to get hungry. Your stomach growls. So when he was hungry, when his stomach started to growl, he would get up and go into town, get something to eat, and then he'd come back and resume his position, sitting under the tree. Om. But on one of these days, when he had gone into town to get something to eat, he noticed a fox sitting in the woods. And with this fox, it was crippled. Its forelegs were paralyzed, but it was just sitting there. But it was really, clearly, it was very well fed and healthy. And he thought, oh, wow, isn't that odd? How could this fox manage to survive in the woods when it can't really catch food? But then one evening, when he was there under the tree with his legs crossed, he heard the growl of a lion come up. And this lion, he was so scared when he heard that growl, he climbed up in the tree. He stopped his humming, and he went up into the highest branch, and he saw this lion come up with a big chunk of meat hanging out of its mouth. And it just very gently dropped the meat in front of the fox and walked away. And the fox enjoyed its dinner. And the man watched with disbelief. He thought, wow, that's amazing. And then he started to notice every day the same thing happened. The lion came up, left a meal in front of the fox, and then gently went away. And he thought, what a miracle this is. This must be a message from God. What's God trying to tell me? And then he concluded that God must want him to just trust that if he just keeps doing what he's always been doing, that God will feed him. God will bring his dinner to him. And so he stopped going into town to get a meal. And second day, he's continuing his oming. Third day, fourth day. But man, he's getting really weak and tired and not much strength left. He's practically on the throes of death by the fifth day. And a yogi happens to walk by. And he says to the man, what's wrong with you? What has led you to be in such a weakened condition like this? And the man said, well, it was a divine message that came to me. And so I just obeyed it, and now you can see my plight. And the yogi said, well, what was the divine message? And the man explained that he noticed that there was this crippled fox and this lion that brought, this generous lion brought a dinner to him every night. And the yogi said, well, of course that's a divine message. But why did you choose to imitate the crippled fox instead of the generous lion? And I thought, well, maybe that is an example of sort of two worlds colliding, that maybe the old story, the old story is always our shtick or our reasons or excuses, the way we've always done things. And then the new story is what's possible when we let go of the old story, and maybe there's a part of us that sort of identifies with the crippled fox. There's nothing wrong with being crippled and having someone come to help you, but to think that, I remember in the 4T Prosperity Program, one of the first things they taught was you got to get up and get it yourself. that we need to, pay attention. If our stomach's grumbling, take care of yourself or meet your needs. And the news story is an opportunity to be the generous lion, that if you have a need, look around and see what you've got to share with others. Who can you feed? Who can you offer some help to? That, rather than I'll just sit here and wait, and maybe God's going to drop the basket down from the sky and give me what I want. But rather, when there's a need, say, what can I do to give to others to be in the flow? And so I thought about that old story, the story is, be like the generous lion. And then I thought about in the Lenten book reading for today, they share this parable, it's a healing story of Jesus who comes upon the paralyzed man at the pool of Bethesda. And we're told that this man has been lying there for years, and no one has helped him to get into the pool that he thought would be the healing waters that would heal him. But of course, at one point, Jesus walks by, and Jesus stops and looks at the man and says to him, "Do you want to be made well?" And of course, the man goes into all of his old story. Well, I've been laying here forever and no one will help me and I can't get in the pool and the water's all yada, yada, yada. It's all the reasons we say, I can't do this, I can't. And, symbolically, in the story, metaphysically, the paralyzed man at the pool is us. And the fact that it's a man represents a thought, our thinking nature. Metaphysically in the Bible, a male character represents our thoughts, a female character represents our feeling nature. But we all have thoughts sometimes, thoughts of lack and limitation, thoughts that, I can't, or I'm not good enough, or, I can't get up and get it myself, and some thought that needs to be healed. And the healing happens when the man encounters Jesus, or when we make contact with our Christ consciousness, which means we recognize our divine nature. We recognize a new story, that there's something new that we can step into when we have the faith to do that, when we awaken to our inner divinity. And so then the old story, so Jesus looks at the man, and he doesn't stand there and say, "Oh, yeah, you're right, life is awful, and I'm really sorry you've been laying here at the pool for..." Jesus doesn't take a minute to give power to that old story, but he immediately moves to the new story, that he's already in that place in consciousness of the new story. And he looks at the man and he sees what's possible, not what has been or what appears to be in the moment. And he says three things. He says, "Stand up, take up your mat, and walk." So he says, I see beyond the appearance of what's happening here, and I know that you have what is within you to, he says, be like the generous lion, find what you have to give, get up and give it. And so that's the new story. So I wanted to just share, I feel like it's just only about a month away until we're going to be having a very special guest speaker here on the weekend of April 15th and 16th. And it's Reverend Shad Groverland, who's the chief executive. It sounds like you know. He was my minister in Boulder. Oh, really? Oh, wow. Oh, great. Well, then you want to be back here that weekend. Yeah, good. I'm glad. So maybe he drew you to us. So, but Shad Groverland was a minister in Las Vegas and then in Boulder, Colorado for a number of years. And now he's the chief executive officer for Unity Worldwide Ministries. And he's a very bright and creative and intuitive person. And he has put together a workshop called The Power of Focused Ministry. And really, it's a very timely one-day workshop designed for ministry leaders, future leaders, and those who want to train leaders, which I hope is all of us. And he's offering this workshop at ministries really all around the country. Anybody that invites him to come out and present it, he's presented about 20 or 30 times before so far this year. And it's really, it's all about ministry in this rapidly changing world. And what, that there's a chance, he says, there's a chance that we will be left behind unless we acquire the tools, the insights, to be current, to be relevant, to be focused, impactful, and to enjoy ministry more. And so this workshop is going to be on Saturday from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. It's a presentation, group discussion, brainstorming, connecting with Spirit. And he's been very deliberate in telling people that he's not willing to offer it online. He wants to come in person to ministries because he feels like there's a dynamic that happens when we come together live in person that you just can't replicate, even on Zoom or. So we're really inviting everyone to sign up and to plan to be here on that Saturday. And so you can sign up on our sign-up table. You can sign up online. There's a suggested donation of $50 for the workshop, but all those funds come directly to our church. So I really want to just invite you to be here on that Saturday. And then on Sunday morning, he's going to be here and be our guest speaker. And he comes with his wife, Erin. Maybe you know Erin.
So
Please.
I'm in the community of Pittsburgh, and I was in the city of Boulder for 10 years. You do not want to miss Shaq. He is amazeballs.
Wow.
It just over the, yeah, tell everyone you know,
Uh-huh.
even just to come to the Sunday service, because his talks are, like, take you to a whole
Wow.
other
Wow.
mind.
Great. Okay, so there is unsolicited. Thank you for being here today. Thank you. We hope we got that on the recording for an online. Thank you, thank you. So I just wanted to take this time because it's really only like 4 Sundays away. We've got the next 2 weeks in March, and then we've got Palm Sunday and Easter, and then he's going to be here on April 16th. So please mark your calendars and really give serious consideration to being here on Saturday for the workshop, because I think it's really going to make a difference for our ministry. But as I thought about kind of a preview, because I want to start preparing the energy and the space for him to come, that I've already heard parts of the workshop, and it's wonderful. And there's a few things that he really is going to drive home the point on. And I thought I feel like those same points are really important for us to get ready for Easter. There are essential steps to prepare for a resurrection. What is Easter? Well, it's a holiday. It's a, well, we're not, well, okay, well, I'll get to that in a few minutes. So, it's a time of, it's the biblical story. It's our story of moving through, times when it feels like things are impossible, when all hope is lost, and then rebirth and renewal and a new beginning in springtime. And so, we all want to have an Easter experience, in our lives for whatever we're going through. And as I've thought about it, there are really several of the things that he's going to drive home in this workshop that are essential for us to prepare for Easter. And one of them is to know your why. Why are we here? What's our why? And who are we? And as we become more clear about why we're here and what is ours to do, then the who and the what all become so much more clear as well. Just take a moment for a second. Just check your heartbeat. Is there still something going on in there? You're still breathing? Great! Okay, that means that there's still more for you to do. That God's got a plan for you, that your work here is not finished yet, that there's a lot more that there's an important why for each of us. And so he's going to share a perspective on why for ministry. And, why don't we go on now? I realize maybe we do need to, preparing for the resurrection experience. So these are the things that we need to do. And I loved in the reading today, if you haven't read it, the terrible twos. And this was a new meaning on we have to let go of some terrible twos, which represent the old story. Like, for example, too old, too unattractive, too broken, too ashamed, too slow, too late, too T.O. That's all of our old story stuff. Oh, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to be here that weekend. I'm too got too much else going. Let go of that. You got to let go of some of those terrible twos in order to step into the new story and have faith to step into a new story. And then I think the third piece is what I call practicing certainty of purpose. And that's where I know Shad's going to bring his perspective that's going to be really important for us to hear about knowing our why. What is our purpose? Why are we here? And one of my favorite perspectives on this was from a book we studied years ago called The Seven Whispers by Christina Baldwin, Listening to the Voice of Spirit. She gave 7 whispers, and one is to maintain peace of mind, to practice, every day at the beginning of the day, invite that into your day. Oh, gee, this seems like a really good time to maintain peace of mind. And then the second whisper she suggested was move at the pace of guidance, just to trust that, listen and move at the pace of your guidance. But then the third whisper was practicing certainty of purpose. And she says to do that, of course, it presupposes that we have to believe there is a life purpose, that there's some reason, there's some very special reason why you are here this time, this place, this set of people in your life. And to be willing to make it our practice to keep figuring out, well, why am I here now? Why am I in this situation? What is it that I'm going to do now that I see clearly what my purpose is? And I was thinking about in our spiritual economics class on Monday afternoon, a week or two ago, we were talking about the parable of the talents. And then I came upon something I was really moved by. My grandfather was a Methodist minister, Leroy Lord, Reverend Leroy Lord. And several years back, one of my cousins sent me some books that I didn't even know existed, but he had some notebooks of writings from my grandfather as a minister, some of the sermons that he gave and things that and I had never even seen this stuff before. And my grandfather passed when I was in high school and had retired by the time I remembered very much was able to remember seeing him in church. But my grandpa wrote this, and I love this. I found this recently. Let us remember that all that we say and do is for more than the moment. Long after we are gone, it is what I have been, what of the words I have spoken, what of the good that I've tried to do, that will find expression in 1,000 different ways and 1,000 different lives. Jesus did not ask us to attempt what is beyond our strength and ability, only that we do what we can. And the unfaithful steward in the parable of the 10 talents, he wasn't punished for being unable to earn 5 or 10 talents, but only for not trying to do something with the 1 talent that he was given. So the question you and I face is, am I willing to do what I can and all that I can? Does my love for God and each other prompt me to give myself without mental reservation or a careful measuring of the cost, but to give all that I can to the building of God's kingdom and the upliftment of our fellow man. And I thought, when I found my grandpa wrote that in 1957, I thought, oh, holy Toledo. Man, I look at a picture of him now and I think, oh man. So I thought that's a good example of finding our purpose, to use all the, to try to use what talents we've been given. And Eric Butterworth would talk about this as discovering the power within you and using that. Maybe that's our transcendent purpose for all of us. And I always like to think of these things as, it's kind of like music. Music's got melody and harmony and rhythm, and I think of this whole subject as purpose and meaning and contribution. And for me, the meaning part is like putting clothing on our purpose, or giving it a personality, that each one of us has a unique expression of our purpose, that we all maybe have that universal purpose to discover our power within, to unfold that, to do what we can, but we're going to all do it in our own unique way. Like, oh my gosh, wasn't that wonderful hearing Shine play the drums, and Tiara sing, and Sheila, and that was, living your purpose and meaning. And one of my favorite movies, The Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner said, I have just, after he built this baseball field in the middle of a Iowa cornfield, he said, I have just done something that is totally illogical, but it was what he felt called to do, and the story created such an incredible, I cried so much at the end, that healing with his father. But like Noah was kind of like that. In the Bible, Noah creates this ark, and I'm sure that everybody around him and his family thought, this is crazy, why are you doing that? And he probably thought, well, I have just created something totally illogical. But he kept going ahead anyway, even though people thought it was crazy. And then he did something very interesting. He only built one hole in it. The only way to look out of the ark was through the window he created at the top. I thought maybe that means when we're following our dream that we always need to remember to look up. And we all need to build an ark, a sacred place in our mind or in our lives where our dreams are safe from the floods of doubt and disapproval and judgment. And so we know the rest of the story. All the animals came on board, and 40 days and 40 nights of rain, and he let the dove go out the window, and the dove came back with an olive branch, and so it was safe, and he wound up saving everyone. That was the beginning of new life. They had their Easter morning experience because he was willing to do something totally illogical. And so there's purpose and there's meaning, something that's personally meaningful to you, and it's going to be something special and unique for each one of us. And then there's contribution, and that's about how our purpose and meaning is a benefit to others. And Christina Baldwin says in her book that your contribution doesn't have to be grand, it doesn't have to be, not everybody's going to become a celebrity and a movie star or something. It only needs to be fitting. It needs to be what is a fit for you and your own personality. And I heard years ago about a bus driver in Chicago who could sing. He loved to sing. And he even said, I'm a professional singer. I only drive this bus so I have a captive audience every day. But people would line up to get on his bus, and he'd be driving the bus, and he'd be singing, and it just totally made everybody's day. So your purpose and how you express it doesn't, it's just fitting. It has to be authentic to who you are. And often things are just revealed a little bit at a time, and that's how it's meant to be, that we go at the pace of our guidance. And I heard this incredible true story this week about a person was in an ambulance, and they were being rushed to the hospital. And it actually appeared in the ambulance that the person had died. It was a near-death experience. They had left their body. But as the ambulance was speeding on the way to the hospital, they passed a car that had pulled over to get out of the way for the ambulance to pass. And as it happened, there was a person in the car. The person in that car was praying at that moment for the ambulance, that the person, a lot of times we do that, when you hear a siren, you pause for a minute and say a prayer. And when the ambulance arrived at the hospital, apparently the spirit decided to come back into the body. And the person was treated, and they revived, and they were healed, and they were able to go on and continue to resume their life. But at a deep level of knowing, that person remembered what happened. They remembered seeing somebody in a car that the ambulance passed praying for them. And the remarkable thing is that they even remembered the license plate number on the car. And based on the license plate number, they were able to find the name and the address of the person who was in the car. And that person who recovered went and found the person, knocked on the woman's door, and said, "I just have to tell you what happened. I really believe you saved my life. Thank you for praying for me that day." And that's a true story. And so our purpose in any given moment might be to stop and say a prayer, and we have no idea the impact it may have. So sometimes we think we don't know what our purpose is, so we just have to ask, show me what's here for me. Show me exactly what I'm supposed to do. And maybe it is that we pull our car over when we hear a siren. We stop and say a prayer. And we may not know the outcome, but we can know that something has shifted because we've stopped to say that prayer. And the best litmus test for our purpose is to know, is it coming from love? Does it bring joy? And we'll talk about that a little bit next week. But I wanted to kind of just bring this all together with our daily word that I believe maybe our transcendent purpose is to remember Namaste, to remember to say that. You don't even have to say it out loud. You can just be standing in line at a grocery store and think Namaste, to have that thought, send that vibration out. And I always remember my friend Jim Labrie, he's gone now, but he would often say, if I called him on the phone or something, he'd say, "Hey, has anybody told you yet today that I love you?" And sometimes most times I'd say, "Well, no, nobody has." And then he'd say, "Well, let me be the first one to say, I love you." And our daily word says that. Our daily word says, speaking those words, "I love you," provides, and I think maybe we've got a slide for this, it provides comfort for an aching heart and peace in times of uncertainty. That saying, "I love you," is a soothing balm for distress and grief. It helps to center me in truth, that all is well, no matter how things appear. Or saying, "I love you," is a way of enfolding others in a sphere of love. And it's saying, "I love you," comforts others, and it comforts ourselves too. And that's okay to we got to start with self-comfort, self-love, and then extend that out. So, Namaste, I love you. And maybe that's our Namaste, I love you. So let's practice that today. And now we'll have our meditation song is "In the Stillness."
stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. And I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment there is peace. In the stillness of this moment there is love. There is love. In the stillness of this moment there is love. There is love. And I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment I feel love. In the stillness of this moment I feel love. I feel love. In the stillness of this moment I feel love. I feel love. And I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment I feel love. Sweet, sweet love. In the stillness of this moment I am peace. I am peace. In the stillness of this moment I am peace. I am peace. And I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment I am peace. I am love. I am peace. I am love. I am peace.
It can be as easy and as gentle as our breathing. As we release the old, we are renewed to stand up, take our mat, and walk forward. And so I invite you to use these words as an affirmation for your breathing a few times. I behold the Christ in myself and in others. to boldly step into my divine identity. And I leave you with this St. Patrick's Day blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields, and until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of her hand. And now we'll have the blessing of our prayer requests, and John is our prayer chaplain for today. We're continuing to hold in prayer Anna Kay France and her husband Greg. They're very grateful for the support people have provided from our congregation. And we continue to pray with Michelle and Millie, Mary, Julie, Bob, Carol Schmidley, Joyce, Christopher, and Mike Serio with his mother's going through her transition period. So, John.
Thanks, Reverend Mary. Good morning. Good to see everyone. May the words that I speak be those that you would speak from your own heart. Let us pray. Sweet and loving Spirit, we have come to know you in a variety of different ways over the course of years. And we know you, I know you, as love. And as we carry this love, maybe this is what you feel that God is, or God does, or God has. God is love. This I know. And as we pray for all those people that are affirmed, we could make it our purpose to pray. We can pull over, as that woman did with a passing ambulance, and take the time to make it our purpose to pray. To pray in love, knowing that love is the greatest power on this earth. Love tears down walls. Love builds up people. Love heals. A loving glance, a loving smile, a loving hug, the giving of food, the giving of solace. Love works. Let us know today that we can give this wonderful love to everyone that we meet. And in everything that we do, we can do it lovingly. And we say thank you, dear God, for this wonderful blessing, knowing our purpose in a loving way. And so it is. Thank you, God. Amen.
And so now Sheila will share one more song, I Stand for Love.
I stand for love, I stand for peace, I stand for joy and for release, for what is beautiful and true. I stand for hope.
Namaste, Sheila. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful music and that beautiful lesson, that powerful prayer. We all stand for love. So now it's time for our transformational opportunities. The Art of Quantum Living class, formerly known as the Art and Practice of Living with No One and Nothing Against You, will be offered starting on Tuesday, April 11th, online. And then this Saturday, which is March 26th? 25th? March 25th? This Saturday at noon, there will be a celebration of the completion of the spirit group based on what if it all goes right? And whether you attended spirit groups or not, everyone is invited to join us in our friendship hall. And that starts at noon and it goes till 3? 2? Noon to 2. And is that a potluck? It's a potluck. So bring your pot and good luck. I just thought of that. I was following my purpose, Reverend Mary. I just was inspired to be I think I was channeling my dad. It was like a kind of a dad joke. It's because it's my dad's birthday month. Okay. Daily word reflections. Just a reminder that every Wednesday at noon, you can join Unity Friends for a half-hour midweek connection opportunity. The Zoom link is in our email blasts and on the website, and the group reads the daily word and takes time for meditation and sharing reflections. And it's a wonderful way to stay connected with Unity through the week. And then this coming Tuesday, our very own Georgia and her granddaughter Josette's here, Georgia's 98th birthday is this coming Tuesday. So we're collecting birthday cards to take to her. If you brought a card, please leave it in the basket on the sign-up table by the office. And if you didn't bring one, we have some extra cards available that you can use to write a note and sign. They're also on the table. And then a reminder for all our prayer chaplains and anybody that's interested in becoming a prayer chaplain or spending some time with us. Saturday, April 1st, is the first of our annual training. We call it a training retreat. So we have fun, and we're going to learn about sacred space and listening and prayer. So you're invited to that, but you do need to let me know you're going to come. So please see me if you're interested. Okay, I think we're ready to close and join us in our circle and sing We're All Friends Here. Thank you for coming this week. Have a blessed week.
There we go.
Yeah, we're a creative circle. We're all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. And our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all